The podcast live stream boys are back. The pod dudes are here again, huh, Will?
We're back. We are back to talk about one of the more frustrating games I've seen in a while. By that, I mean
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah. I think my expectations started to get a little bit higher than maybe where they should have been, realistically.
Yeah, fair.
Crashing back down to earth after the Broncos faced the Chargers. I wanted to talk to you about a handful of things here with the Broncos. Bo Nix, obviously, won. Sean Payton. We got a game against the Saints coming up. The run game. Pat Surtain's injury. I was hoping, if we were going to do a show today, we'd be talking about just all the good things that were happening. Vance Joseph is great. The defense is elite. Bo Nix is developing exactly like planned. And I don't know. I really don't know. I already overreacted. I already overreacted in the new worst game ever. This is about finding the truth, the middle ground, the real expectations.
That's right. You got that out of your system. Now we can reflect about 24 hours later.
Yeah.
And I think,
swear to God, I am going to cover you in ketchup and mayonnaise and just make you live in that state, mustard face, you son of a bitch. Sorry, what was that, Will?
you guys got a mustard for a face. Yeah, I think what I took away from this, and I think we all knew it, but it gets hard to kind of keep in the front of your mind from week to week, is that having a young rebuilding team with a rookie quarterback is not a linear progression, meaning it's not going to get better every single week. It might get, yes, exactly. Like, it's probably going to start out bad, and it did.
Yeah.
And then it got better.
Yes.
And you win 3 games in a row.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean you're just getting better every game. Like, it's probably going to be a clunker in the middle. And it sucks that it happens against a divisional rival, and it sucks that it happens at home. And it sucks that it happens after you put up 34 on the Raiders. But these things are going to happen. Rookies are going to look really good one week, and then they're going to take a step back and might look really good 4 days later on Thursday Night Football. You don't know. Josh Reynolds is on IR, unfortunately. But
he had a finger surgery. So
yeah, but he was good in the first 5 games for sure.
Yeah.
I think he was the leading receiver, maybe.
Yeah.
So obviously, yeah, the first half was abysmal. Like, it was a complete unmitigated nightmare.
First 3 quarters for the offense.
First 3 quarters. Yeah, first 50 minutes of this game.
That's what makes it a little more troublesome, right? Is it was also the entire third quarter. There's, no points scored in the first half. You're like, yeah, man, that's bad. We've seen it this season. Come out in the second half, get a drive, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't do anything until that fourth quarter started.
And you like to see that, they put up 16 unanswered in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I know you can say, like, yeah, it's garbage time. They're playing soft, whatever. They're conceding yards. And to some extent, that's true. But, you also see Bo Nix ducking defenders and guys making big plays like Vele. Vele comes out of nowhere after not playing for 4 games in a row and has 4 catches for 78. You get Troy Franklin involved. He gets his first touchdown. Courtland Sutton makes just a vintage Courtland Sutton catch in the end zone.
Sure.
And unfortunately, you fail on the 2-point conversion. I don't know. Like, I didn't hate the play call necessarily. I thought it was fairly creative. Javonte Williams didn't quite hold his block. Not a good game for Javonte, by the way.
No.
And then you have a chance on the onside. You actually get 2 chances.
Yeah.
On the onside kick, but ball doesn't bounce your way. Like, I'm glad they fought, fought back. It's certainly better than laying down. Does it erase the first 3 quarters of like total incompetence?
No.
No, but it's better than just like sitting down and losing 37-0.
Yeah, or even
Gives
if
you
that
something to
game,
build on.
yeah, if that game ended 23-0, it would be a lot worse today. It really would.
Yeah.
There are stat people out there who won't open the game, won't watch even a highlight from it, and they'll see that, the Broncos scored 16 points. Bo Nix had, 200 passing yards. They'll be like, oh, okay. Not a great game for the Broncos, but they did something, and they don't know. They really didn't.
But on the other hand, there will be people that watch the first 3 quarters and 2 minutes into the fourth or 5 minutes into the fourth and say that's all that matters too.
Sure.
And I think, it matters a little bit.
Yeah, no, and that's like the last thing I said in the recap was like they didn't give up. And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't excuse the first 3 quarters, but I think it says something about the team that they kept fighting through it. And I think I don't want to say there's a lot of teams out there, but there are some teams down 23-0 in the fourth quarter. I don't think they're scoring any points.
Yeah.
And I think like for the Broncos in this game specifically, what's unforgivable is that through those first 3 quarters, they couldn't even get a field goal. Like if they had a field goal at some point in the second quarter and maybe another field goal, like asking for 2 field goals through 3 quarters of fucking football is not too much. And if they do that, they still play bad. They still play shitty, but they get 2 field goals in there somewhere.
Right.
They have an actual chance at the end of this game, and they kind of had a chance. Will Lutz has been good, but I think I have to question his onside kicking ability. He doesn't use a tee, and maybe there are a handful of kickers who do that. I don't really know, but I'm like, both of them just went straight out of bounds, and there's no bounce. So maybe we got to work on that if we're gonna be in positions where we might need an onside kick. And with a good defense and an offense that can't do anything, it feels like if you can get 1 or 2 onside kicks a year, you might win a couple of games that you shouldn't. I know we did it with Tebow.
I saw a really creative onside kick on Saturday by Oregon State where they tried 2. They got the first one and they missed the second one, but they have 2 kickers on their roster because they're a college team and you can have, you can roster 2 kickers. And they had the first one come up from the left side and fake like he was going to kick it, swings and misses. And then the other kicker comes from behind, from the other side, kicks it to the left. And I thought, hey.
That's smart. I like it.
I don't know who you have to cut on this team, but we need more kickers.
I guess technically you're right that the kick was there to be recovered, but the ball was just going like this, and it went through a Chargers defender, and the Broncos weren't there in time to make the play, or they overshot it a little bit. I forget exactly how.
I think what happened was Tremon Smith was the guy closest to the sideline, and he might have had a chance at it, but Eric Tomlinson, who I believe played for us at some point.
Yeah, he definitely did.
He blocked Tremon Smith basically out of the play, which was a good play because it's legal. So once again, we've been foiled by Tomlinson on the Chargers.
One of our own. Oh, man. One of our old.
She'll go back to that.
Got us. Bastard. Yeah, but if we're talking about how you get an onside kick, that's not a good spot to be in.
No, you want to, maybe put yourself in a chance where you don't need that. But I think you do get 2 field goals at least in the first half, if not for Javonte Williams fumbling.
Sure.
And then they wiped out a 40-something yard catch and run from Cortland Sutton because Quinn Miners held. I don't know if the holding affected that play necessarily, but obviously you can't hold there.
Yeah.
So there were a couple signs of life, but every time something good happened, like the other shoe just dropped. And there's been a lot of people saying, like, obviously they kind of opened it up in the second half when you're down 23 points, because what else are you going to do? And you run hurry up because you're, playing behind 3 scores. And they're like, why don't they do that the rest of the game? And I think it's tough. I think they want to, but in a game like this, the Chargers go, and I got to check here.
They had a 10.5-minute drive.
They're putting together these really, really long drives.
I think it was the longest drive of the season the Chargers might have had at 10 minutes and 29 seconds.
Yeah, because they're converting. They converted 11 of 18 third downs. And most of those, they hit on most of them in the first half. It was much better in the first half. And Denver goes 3 for 11 on third down.
Yeah.
So if you run hurry up and you don't convert and you go 3 and out and it takes like a minute, meanwhile, the Chargers are just like slowing. They're basically speeding the game up. They're speeding the clock up, but they're slowing down the pace. Like you can't do that, because then you just get destroyed in time of possession. Defense gets so tired. Like you can run hurry up. You can run with a little pace if you're moving the ball efficiently, but if you're not, like it makes it so much worse.
Yeah, it's kind of like a catch-22, because I think all season they've had more success when they're running a higher tempo offense in terms of get to the line, run the play, let Nix do his reads quickly. But you're playing right into what the Chargers want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like their identity is control the clock, run the ball, and
you're totally playing into their hands, which I get the, people are probably saying like, well, this way didn't work either. So yeah, that's true too. I think that is something. I think you can actually push the pace a little bit against a team like the Saints with Spencer Rattler in his second start.
Maybe he'll score 51.
Yeah, and Rattler, like by no means was he the reason that the Buccaneers or the Saints totally blew that game. But he's a guy who's not going to be comfortable against a good defense.
Yeah.
And I think you can take advantage of that and try to get off to a quick start this time by running a little tempo, a little like muddle, huddle, no huddle, whatever, and then put your pass rushers in a position where they can try to tee off on a rookie quarterback. The Saints are probably, saying the same thing.
Yeah. I think like for the Broncos, so many of their offensive struggles too come down to not running the ball effectively.
It's night and day when it works and when it doesn't.
Yeah, it can set up play action for Bo Nix. It can set up the bootlegs to be more effective. And I don't know how great of a passer Bo Nix will ever be. I think there's always going to be flaws in his passing game. I think he can be good enough to get the job done. But I think when you set him up with those types of plays, he's very good. And I think one way to counter the lack of the rushing attack is to just lean into his athleticism and get him more actual like designed runs. Like if you can't get it with your running backs, start designing runs for Bo Nix, which you would think would open up either their run game with their actual running backs or the pass game. Like at this point, if he's the leading rusher and we're complaining about it when they're losing, like just let him be the leading rusher intentionally, and maybe it makes the run game a little more dynamic.
Yeah, they should be running like 2 zone reads and a quarterback draw in every game.
Yeah, because like we saw him extend a play for an eternity and nobody could get open, get back to him to give him a throw. And then we saw him escape a sack where it looked like he was going to get rocked. And he somehow ducked and let the defender go over him and rolled out. And I think got like a 20-yard gain with his legs.
Yeah.
So like it's tough because you see those plays, you see the flaws he has as a passer. And then it sucks because we still haven't really had a Jaden Daniels game or a Caleb Williams game for Bo Nix. And so like when you're comparing it to those other guys where I mean, both had like an efficient win, but he has not had a game where you're like, oh, 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns and
I
50 rushing
I
yards.
kind of I mean, he didn't throw
He's not had
touchdowns.
that.
I think he had I think he had his best game against the Buccaneers he had his best half against the Raiders for sure in the second half.
Sure.
But I think he had a really good complete game against the Buccaneers defense that I would put up with.
No.
Not as good as Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams,
No.
but like I would put up as like one of the top 5 rookie games this year.
No, I mean, and you can say that from maybe like a very technical standpoint. I'm talking about a type of game where he does so many good things. People are like, this guy's pretty fucking good. And you can't, if you say that's the Bucs game, you can't go back and go, oh, he threw 0 touchdowns in that game. Sure, he rushed for what, 1 or 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to get the media going.
I'm talking about a high stat performance, oh my God, that throw is insane performance. Oh my God, he will cure us of all that ails us. He hasn't had that type of game. I'm not saying he hasn't done things that we shouldn't be moderately excited about.
Yeah, I mean, well, Caleb Williams put up big, and he was good. Like I'm not saying he was, playing a high school team, but he also put up, 4 touchdowns against the Jaguars defense.
Yeah,
and I think a couple touchdowns against the Panthers defense last week. I mean, Caleb will get it, or Bo will get a chance against the Panthers too. He'll play shitty defenses, but and maybe the Raiders are one. But he'll get his shots. He's played good D so far. He's played really good defenses.
He is going through the grinder. The Gruden grinder of defenses.
Yeah, like if you laid out these 6 games and you said we're gonna merge from this 3-3, like okay, not over the moon about it, but it's like that's about right.
He got a lot better in interceptions.
Yeah,
1 really bad throw early in this game.
Sure.
But to me, he has yet to do a complete football game. I feel like he's had a couple B+ games. He's done a B+ effort. I just want to see 1 A+ game from Bo Nix this season.
I think you will get one eventually.
That's what I need. I need it. No, I'm looking for 300 yards, 3 fucking touchdowns, and 50 rushing yards.
That's also not like what this team is built for.
I don't care. I want it.
I know. I want it too.
I want it, Will.
Put, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, and Cole Kmet on this team. And maybe you've got a different argument. And I'm not saying that.
I'll take Hayden Hurst playing tight end at this point. Well, we have no tight end.
They don't have anybody at tight end. They like, what's the one thing people always say about tight ends? It's like it's a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah.
Right? Especially a young quarterback. Lucas Kroll, Nate Adkins. I can't even think of the third one because Dulcich is a healthy scratch every week. Adam Troutman, sorry.
Yeah, the Trout man. And you know what's sad is if like they move on from Adam Troutman, he'll go to the Chargers, and next year he's going to score a touchdown on
for sure. I thought at some point in this game was going to rack up like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Who?
Will Dissly.
Oh, I know. He was starting to get hot.
Damn it! I forgot he's on the Chargers now. They definitely did that because they know how well he plays against us.
Yeah, I can't remember if I left that in the video or not. And I was like, how does Will Dissly have one great game every 2 years and it's always against the Broncos?
Yeah, but and then I mean, we haven't talked about it, but like the thing that made this game such a nightmare in the first place was losing PS2 on the first snap on defense.
Yeah, first defensive snap. I think it was the
Yeah.
fourth play of the game. So yeah,
brutal.
The worst part is he was doing a perfect play. He had a perfect pass defended there.
Yeah,
and he just fell weird and hit his head really hard on the ground.
Yeah, and I think they panicked a little bit on defense.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge blow, first of all, to like get right from, to be like, oh shit, we just lost our best player. We don't know for how long. Now everything changes because you have to you can't just like roll coverage to Riley Moss's side and leave Surtain on an island. Like, we love Riley Moss, but he's not there yet. And you don't feel comfortable maybe blitzing as much. Sure. And the play calling becomes a little bit different. And all of a sudden they can't get off the field for 8 and 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah, you killed them. And you have, Justin Herbert back there, smart enough to find mismatches, and that is wherever that big broken play was Cody Barton's fault, right?
Yeah, they threw a wheel route to over Barton's head, which is just like a great play design. I don't know if Alex Singleton like covers any better than that.
I do. I know he gets.
So that's just like, that was a great play call, great play design, great throw by Herbert. Herbert was really, really good in this game. They couldn't stop J.K. Dobbins in the first half whatsoever.
Yeah.
They ran the ball 38 times for 128 yards, which is not like crazy efficiency, but it was really, really effective in the first half. They had guys like Simi Fehoko caught a pass for the caught 2 passes.
Pass. Yep.
Lad McConkey was hurt for most of this game, still caught 4 passes. Kamani Vidal in his first action catches a touchdown, a 38-yard touchdown. Yeah. Disley, like we said, they held Quentin Johnston to just 3 for 22, but then you have like this weird backbreaker from Stone Smart with 2 T's, which is ironically not a very smart way to spell that word.
Damn it. I missed that yesterday.
But yeah, I mean, they lost McConkey early in this game and Quentin Johnston too. So you felt like it should have been even. And maybe Vance Joseph learns that, like, hey, like, if that happens again and maybe they, we don't know if Surtain's going to play on Thursday, like, just trust your guys. Trust Riley Moss and call plays as aggressively as you have been. But, that Chargers offensive line lost a couple pieces, and they're still really, really good in the run.
Yeah, but they got their 2 pieces back. They got Alton, Slater back. Then did Slater leave the game for
Slater
a bit?
Came out for at least a little bit. I don't know if
it
was a weird game at the beginning because, like, all right, pick on the 3rd play, PS2 gets injured on the first defensive snap. Then, like, 30 seconds later, you cut to Jim Harbaugh walking into the tunnel. Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
It felt like every 45 seconds they cut to a Charger leaving the field.
Yeah. It was Surtain, then it was a Charger. It was a Charger. It's a Charger. Like, we got to take advantage of this. But
right, and they couldn't do it.
We lost our one guy we can't lose, and that is now, we know for sure, it's Pat Surtain. I'm starting to just want to win again. I
think the wheel looks nice.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, but like right here, here's your problem. It's like 6 carries for Javonte, 3 for Jaleel. Audric came in. I don't know if it was a carry or if it was like a swing pass to him. He showed a little flash there. And I know they try to get them involved like in the short passing game, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't really work yet. And I don't know how you fix this. I don't know if it's a Javonte issue as your lead back. It's just not consistent. It's like if our running backs have a good game, the following week it's like it doesn't work at all.
Yeah, well, Javante's just not like a back who's going to be effective with 6 carries.
Yeah, 100%. He needs
And
at least 15.
yeah, he needs double-digit carries. He just gets better as the game goes along, but unfortunately, fumbles. They put an estimate. And in the fourth quarter, they're not really the second half. They're not in a position to establish the run.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. So that's just out of the playbook entirely.
Here's kind of maybe what I'm thinking is happening is like we're watching growing pains of a rookie quarterback on kind of like a team that's maybe stripped down of talent a little bit. All that's true. But in regard to like the running game, maybe Sean Payton's just like, we're going to run the offense the way I want it to run when it's doing what it's supposed to. And if we have to suffer through some of these plays not working right now because maybe we don't have the personnel or maybe Bo's not able to do everything I want him to, I would rather develop him doing it the way that I want to versus like, I want to help this rookie by getting my running backs 25 combined carries a game. That's not the style of offense I've had success with. That's not the style of offense I really want to run. I think, sure, there might be some stinker games like this one with Bo and the offense, but I want him to throw it 30 plus times a game. I want 10 of those to be short passes to running backs or receivers that eventually kind of function this way. And once we figure it out, we'll be in a better spot because we did it the hard way to get there. That's like my only
I think
why you don't give him more help out of the backfield, other than like maybe you just don't believe your running backs are capable of it.
Yeah, well, you have to surround him eventually with better players too.
Yeah. Yes.
That's big, and like they're still in a position where they play the Saints. I hate to get like cut multiple weeks ahead, but like you get the Saints against Rattler.
Yeah.
And then you get the Panthers, and you're in a realistic position. Nobody knows, but you're in a position where you could be 5-3. You should be 5-3.
Yeah.
And the NFL trade deadline is week 9. Maybe you make a play on a guy like, I don't know. Now the Bengals win, like I really find it hard to believe that they're going to trade T. Higgins. Also, they just don't trade players midseason unless it's like Carson Palmer, who's refusing to play entirely.
Hassan Reddick should have went to the Bengals.
Yeah. They are the most stubborn organization. But, I think we tossed around Amari Cooper in the trade deadline video. Like, that's a situation where, like, that makes sense, I think, for both parties. Like, I can't imagine he's having a lot of fun in Cleveland in year 10.
No.
Staying aboard that sinking ship of an offense and really organization. So, hey, maybe he's available. He's definitely not going to cost as much as T. Higgins. He's not like a building block for the future necessarily, but he's somebody that I think would help Bo Nix's development quite a bit. And I think kind of usher him into his second and third year, potentially.
Yeah, you need a different style of receiver to complement Courtland Sutton, right?
Yeah, you got the big guys. You got the fast guys with Franklin and Mims.
Yeah. And it's like almost working with those guys.
Yeah.
I thought Franklin dropped it in this game, but it was Mims that Bo Nix threw deep to, right? And it would have been a tough catch. But
yeah, it was
the
really
16 to 19 in my head, I just see it as the same thing. And every time I think it's Troy Franklin, and I think I did the whole live stream. I was blaming it on Franklin, and then later I'm like, oh fuck, that was Mims. But
that's all right. We forgive you.
yeah,
But yeah, you want like a route runner who's gonna get separation. Like kind
you
of
want a Jerry Jeudy type.
I don't know. Everybody's like,
I'm just kidding. He's a route runner, but I want a better receiver than Jeudy. Like I was being.
I do too. Yeah, one is not gonna like. I can't. God, he's got to be having just a tough time in Cleveland right now.
Everybody's got to be hurting in Cleveland.
Yeah, that sucks.
Everybody hurts.
But yeah, I think Cooper is somebody that the offense doesn't have right now, who would provide like an instant upgrade. And then people were freaking out about Tim Patrick making a couple nice catches in Detroit, and we're all very happy for Tim Patrick and the Lions, and we hope he does well. And maybe he makes this offense like a little bit better. But
I think he does, but it's not like marginally better.
I don't think he transforms the offense whatsoever. And I think you're better served for the future giving his reps to guys like Vele and Troy Franklin. Not that Vele's spring chicken because he's 26, but
no, but he had a nice game.
He had a really nice second half. Should have had more. Dropped the ball coming back on like a comeback or a dig or something.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
But I mean, Vele's got. I know he was averaging like 3 yards a catch against Seattle, but he's obviously got some chemistry with Nix, and he's got 12 receptions in 2 games. So there's something there.
Yeah,
Franklin, there's going to be a connection.
I think at least they're talking about it here. I think they were trying to force Franklin into the lineup ahead of Vele because they like Franklin's potential more. But until that actually develops out, you're kind of just trading that developmental period with a guy whose potential you're banking on versus maybe the guy who's a little bit better for Bo Nix right now. It's just another part of the growing pain thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of weird to say that after saying we should trade for
sure. But that's the thing. There's I don't think there's a good answer for this season. It's just like, we just got to suck it up. And
it's just going to be a ton of ups and downs.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of fun games, and there's going to be a few games that feel like this.
Yeah. We might win Thursday night. We might beat the Saints. They're a beatable team. They're a defense that has flaws. Like, we beat the Buccaneers, and then the Buccaneers threw 3 picks and still put up 51 points against the Saints.
Right.
A punt return. Our special teams have been good. We could get a special teams play. So I don't know. I just don't know. We'll see. Ask me after I watch Rattler for a full game. Ask me Friday, Xavier.
Yeah, I think he showed some things. I think that was a weird game. That was a really weird game because the Saints scored 0 in the first quarter, I think 27 in the second quarter, 0 and 0. But he's very confident.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'd say this last game was a wash. Overall, I'm going to believe in Sean Payton over Pat Shurmur every time because Pat Shurmur should be in jail. Yeah, we do. We need to see more from him. I'd like to see even more flashes even. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah, but he did win a Super Bowl, and they did have a really long, very successful career together.
Oh, you're saying he hasn't won anything with the quarterback that he had for 15 years of his coaching career? That's been like 18 years.
Yeah. That's an argument for any coach, right? Now,
crazy. Oh, well, Bill Belichick won without Brady. So
yeah, Pete Carroll without the most dysfunctional relationship. I don't know. It's not as bad as it seems. It's not as good as I hoped it could be after I thought it could start to be kind of good. It's like, oh, nothing. We're going to just ride this defense the whole time. If Bo Nix keeps playing like mistake-free football, we're going to be in every game. And as soon as I thought that Surtain got hurt, and I don't even know if we won't have Surtain Thursday if he's in concussion protocol. But at least there's a difference too, I think, between being able to prepare for a guy who's not going to be there versus losing your best player mid-game. Like that's a lot harder thing to kind of.
Yeah, and there's a difference between losing your top corner against Justin Herbert and losing your top cornerback against a rookie quarterback in his second start, who's throwing to, by the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like, I think Chris Olave had a concussion too. So, poor Spencer Rattler he threw his first touchdown to a guy named Bub Means.
Yeah.
Who I was not familiar with before he caught that pass.
Yeah.
And, Rashid Shaheed, who, you got to watch out for sure.
Bro, Winston, you got a deal. I will make underdog picks. I will go lower on every Broncos pick for you. My code, that's good. Link in the description. Also, Underdog sponsoring Thursday night stream for the Broncos Saints game. It will be a fundraiser. It'll be a charity stream. All the money donated there via Super Chats going to Solving Kids Cancer. Underdog has kicked that off with a $10,000 donation to Solving Kids Cancer. So if you want to play, join me there. Also, I'm going to be hosting a bunch of private drafts through Underdog this week. For every private draft we fill, I will donate $100 to the charity. We'll see how many we can fill before the stream starts on Thursday night. So you got a deal, bro, Winston. I will lower on all the Broncos just for you.
Good stuff.
Anyway, it was rough.
Yeah.
There's no way to get around it. Also, it's hard when the opposing coach comes out and just coaches through having an arrhythmia. That's a badass move. You can't understate the motivational factor that brings to a game. Our coach was having heart issues, and he's out here still coaching. We got to go play for this man. What does Sean Payton got to do to one-up, Jim Harbaugh in that scenario? I don't know. I really like Jim. The more I listen to that man, the weirder shit he says, the more I'm like, he's cool. He's weird, and I like it. But have we had 100-yard receiver this season?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Damn. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, kind of going back to that point about trading for someone like Amari Cooper, is then I think you can, you're in a position in the draft next year to add a real playmaker on offense, a real difference maker. There's a ton of good wide receivers. Feels like there are every year.
Yeah, in the draft, you're like, oh yeah, all these guys there's 10 guys who are game changers. And about seven of them are. Yeah,
it feels like, it's like, oh, they can't all be good, right? And it turns out they're all really good this year in the first round. And then I texted you too on Saturday night, you got to see this tight end from Penn State.
Yeah.
Shit.
What was his name?
Tyler Warren.
Yeah, give me Tyler Warren.
So he had 17 catches against USC, which was
nice.
An FBS record for tight ends. He also lined up in the Wildcat and threw a pass, completed it. Mm-hmm. And he got under center on 3rd and short and ran a QB sneak for 4 yards. And that's not even mentioning the play where he snapped the ball as a center and then went out for a pass and totally mossed that defender in the end zone for USC.
Oh, yeah, he's a
dude
on steroids. Sean Payton's gonna be all over this dude.
Yeah. Oh, I would be shocked if he's not on his radar right now.
Sean Payton's probably trying to figure out how he can trade up to the number 1 pick in the draft to get this man.
Yeah, for sure.
I will trade myself back to New Orleans to get him if that's what it takes.
He wears 44. Just like a true throwback tight end number, like Dallas Clark. 17 receptions, by the way. They're not short. He had over 200 yards. He was like
That's crazy.
Drew Aller was good, but he single-handedly won Penn State that game against USC on the road.
Nice. Yeah. And we'll see. It's a Sean Payton revenge game coming up, obviously, for the Saints. So a lot of people were making a big deal about them putting Sean Payton in the Thursday night graphic for the Saints game. It's like, well, that's actually very fitting.
Yeah, it's the most compelling narrative about the game.
He's going back to the place he had the most success for the longest period of time.
Yeah.
Malcolm Roach, who the Broncos acquired, he's been nice on the defensive line. Last week, video emerged of John Franklin Myers poking one of the Raiders in the eyes, which that's when I really thought the Broncos their defense was going to just continue to go on a tear. Because the last time that happened, I believe it might have been 2014. Might have been the 2014 Broncos when Aqib Talib poked the Colts tight end in the eye.
No, I think that was 2015.
Was that 2015?
Yeah.
Is that the same game we lacerated Andrew Luck's kidneys?
Shit, maybe it was 2016. He got suspended. He did so much stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
I was like, this defense has got that same fire.
But 2015 was the game where unfortunately Andrew Luck lacerated his kidney.
The Broncos may have been the team that really got Andrew Luck thinking about retiring.
Yeah, well, shit, that was.
No. I think that now, like, they won 3 in a row. You're right, Trevor. They pulled us in. Then they lose a bad way to the Chargers, a game they could have won. I think they're going to get it. I think they're going to beat the Saints, and we're going to be back up on top of the mountain.
It's the best time to have a Thursday night game because, like, you only have to deal with that shitty taste in your mouth for like 2 days, and then you're like, all right.
And you're playing a team like I don't know how good the Saints are. Like,
yeah, well, they look like
they're on a scale of pretty good to pretty bad. And the pretty good was a long time ago. So I'm saying they might be closer to bad.
Yeah, Bill Simmons famously said that they look like the 99 Rams after 2 games.
Oh.
And they have proceeded to lose 4 in a row. But
good job, Saints.
Yeah, I would I'm definitely not going to take Spencer Rattler for granted.
No.
Just because, you just don't know what you're going to get out of him, especially feeling a little more comfortable in start number 2 and no Surtain. So it wouldn't surprise me if he looked pretty good. Also, I think there's this like karmic debt that I owe for really just like leading the Spencer Rattler hate club before he transferred to South Carolina. And then, we changed our tune.
We rectified it.
Our
first video this offseason was about Rattler for the college QBs, right?
Yeah. So we are now fans, but I'm wondering if there's a little like residual debt.
No, I think we rectified it.
Okay, well, we're
on a clean slate with Rattler. We were at the forefront of supporting Rattler, so I think we're good. And I think the short week benefits him too. Just get back out there and play again. Like, don't let him think about any of the mistakes he made for too long. And he's young, so you can bounce back from a football game. Pretty quickly. But anyway, my family just got here, so this is the time to conclude the podcast.
This is the end. Well, it's been real.
All right, Will, I appreciate you jumping on today. We weren't planning it. Just decided to get on and talk a little bit of the Broncos because it's been a while. We got a short week. Excited for the game. Excited to hopefully rid ourselves of what this Chargers atrocity was. I still sort of believe. I didn't believe yesterday, but every day we get closer to the game, I start to believe again. And by Thursday, I'll be a full-blown believer, ready to rock. Good night.
Absolutely. And God bless Bo Nix.
John Elway played his entire career without an ACL.